Hello everyone, Courtney here. Welcome to 2024, where taking action should be your mantra if you're looking to up your game from last year. The longer I am an InventRight coach, the more frustrated I am with people that I coach valuing knowledge, but not the execution of that knowledge into their own lives. This actually brought me to an incredible book called The 12-Week Year. And I will be starting out this episode with a quote from the Headway summary of the book. If you aren't familiar, Headway is a subscription app where you can read books in 15 minutes via their incredible summaries. I love it, and to be clear, I am not sponsored by them, but hey, maybe I should be. And to start off this episode, here is the quote. The most difficult challenge people face is not the lack of knowledge, but the lack of execution. Welcome to episode number 39. Let's get into it.
Where inventing, passion, and hard work intersect. Welcome to the Serial Inventing Podcast. Bite-sized, perspective-altering episodes on serial inventing and beyond. From motivating key tips on product licensing to obstacle-busting conversations on transitioning to a full-time serial product developer. Buckle your seatbelt, because you're in for a ride. Warning, this podcast may motivate you to make wild decisions that will propel you forward in your inventing career and hijack more of your time for your passion. If you aren't ready to make it happen, then this podcast isn't for you.
In The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, he states that we all have two lives, the one we live and the one we're capable of living. Wouldn't it be great if they were one? But because they aren't, this is why we are having this discussion. The 12-week year talks about how having knowledge without doing anything with it is completely useless, and to actually grow, you must act. And so finding ways to get yourself to take action is the game you must play and become incredibly good at. One way you can do this is by creating an agenda for the week with a deadline. Even if it's one small thing on there, because you know it will be a busy week, it can really help you focus and stay on track. 7 days is a lot of time. It's 168 hours, or about 112 waking hours. Or, if you work an 8 or 9 hour job, you have about 67 hours left. If you really want to be successful, you will make time to do so. Or maybe you'll learn it's just really not as important as you thought it was. And if it is, and you are struggling to make it a priority, then check out episode 9 in my most popular episode, number 18, for more on priorities, making time, and your identity. If you have been coached by me at InventRight, then you know I coach by means of tracking analytics. I am constantly checking how you are doing through the numbers you output every single week. In my mind, it's the best way to keep track of your progress when you are focusing on longevity in the industry and getting a licensing deal. This works nicely in parallel to what the author talks about in the 12-week year. The Headway summary goes on to say that too often in business or daily life, we fail to keep score. We lose track of where we stand, so we barely know when to improve or relax. The primary reason why sports are exciting is scorekeeping. In sports, scores give the individual, team, spectators, and coaches an idea of where they stand and what they need to do. People lose or win by scores and statistics. Having a way to measure your ability is very important to know where you stand. As a martial artist in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai myself, I can also attest to the importance of tracking score in various ways. The book goes on to talk about finding a way to create a weekly scorecard to keep track of your progress. I do this in a different way when it comes to pitching, though I do track my score, if you will, on my hit list with a variety of analytics, exactly like I coach my students with. I also sometimes use a sticky note with my goal on it for that day or week that I keep in front of my computer to make sure I hit that goal. Writing it down by hand and keeping it visible within eye and arm's reach really helps me hone in and focus on the one thing that matters, that goal. One of my favorite things I like to talk about is the precious time that we have and the lack of value we put on it. In fact, we'd rather trade our time than our money a lot of the time. Wild. Money can be created and earned, but time can't. We are all betting with our time every second of the best way to spend it, and sticking to long term goals to create long term success is pivotal. It's very refreshing to hear this in a book as well, preaching back what is something we cannot lose sight of. It goes on to say that time is also the essence of your life, so value your time by understanding the importance of saying yes or no. Learn to move away from things that will waste your time and focus on more productive things. Valuing your time helps you understand the true meaning of accountability. Accountability is about owning the results of your choices. After all, the only accountability that should exist in your life is self accountability. Let me make this clear. Just because you have interest in something doesn't mean you're committed to it. You must take action to show your commitment. It later states the struggle between emotions and a commitment and how they are not always aligned. It says act on your commitments and not your feelings. It might seem daunting to do some things, but what makes it a commitment is overriding your emotions to keep yourself motivated. I talk deeper on this in my Kraken episode number 36. Emotions run faster than rational thought, and you must always be aware of this and consider their effects when you are pitching, as well as considering starting a new idea. Are you interested in starting to work on a new idea or committed to it? If you are just interested, do not start that project. Only commitment will get you to that finish line you so desire. Once you commit, it becomes a passion, and then a habit or a lifestyle, and then a career. I have never heard a better definition than how the book describes commitment. It states that commitment is putting a lot of effort into keeping the promises you made to yourself. It means you prioritize your duties and overcome laziness and reluctance. And of course, you must be disciplined to overcome those challenging feelings. Being a coach at InventRight has taught me a lot about how people have work-life balance, or shall I say, lack thereof. Of course, we are not taught it and always want to do our best, so we overcommit and work hard and swap our self-care and personal dreams for our companies. One piece of advice the 12-week year gives is if you find yourself in a situation where work is overpowering your life, remember that you hold the power to quit. One has to have priority over the other. It's your choice which you want to be above the other. Without choosing, one will overtake the other, and burnout will often commence. It's important to create a plan and stick to it where it makes long term goals a priority. So here's a goal for you: Create short deadlines on micro tasks. You will be less likely to become bored or exhausted for that project. You will get quicker results, and it will motivate you more because of that. One example of this is by Wednesday every week, you must send 2 emails out. Success happens by compounding micro tasks every day, accomplishing a goal 1% at a time. I talk about this in one of my very first set of episodes, episode 6. I would highly recommend getting the book, The 12-Week Year by Brian P. Morgan and Michael Lennington, or paying for a Headway subscription and reading that book and most of the books I mention in my podcast there. What I really love about the book is it empowers and teaches you how you can conflate an entire year worth of goals into a mere 12 weeks. It reminds you that you set the deadlines of your own goals, and many goals with a clear set of steps can be accomplished far quicker than assumed or expected. And if you need help with accountability, staying committed to your goals, and prioritizing taking action, check out my new calendar I made just for inventors. It includes a once-a-month challenge to help you grow as an inventor. Both the link to the 12-week year and my new calendar is in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in and taking a few bites with me today. And remember, serial inventors don't make excuses. They make it happen. See you soon.